After deploying to Afghanistan for 6 years, returning home, being diagnosed with PTSD, falling into a dark hole, developing alcohol and drug addiction issues, luckily I found a way out through fitness. And I'm here to share my story for anyone who may benefit. I've always been in the sport, active ever since a young age till now. So when I was 20, I decided to leave my small country town from where I grew up in. I wanted a sense of adventure. I wanted to branch out and see the world and experience life. So I joined the military under a program for direct entry for special forces. So what that meant was I didn't go regular military. I went into a recruitment scheme, did basic military training, rifleman training, advanced infantry, and then did a selection course to become a Commando in the Australian military, and I passed that. Went through reinforcement cycle training to be a qualified Commando, passed that, went into the unit and then deployed within 3 to 4 months of being in the unit. So I knew exactly what I was signing up for, so no regrets. The way I seen it, it was like the elite of the military, and that's what I've always sought, to be above average, be competitive in nature, and excel at what I did. So I went to war in my first year in the unit, and I went back to Afghanistan, where I returned 4 years in a row in active duty. And in that time, I grew up real fast, experienced war, seen the good side and the bad side, lost mates in that time, developed some drinking disorder issues, developed some drug issues. Going to war, the military do a really good job at preparing you. They put you in conditions under stress, under fatigue. You do a lot of training, so you know what you're going into. Well, you think you know what you're going into, so all your training, your basic manoeuvres, how you respond to receiving fire, that's all supposed to be instinctive, and it's all a drill. So in one of my first gunfights, I was shot in the back. Surviving this made me feel invincible. So for me, I was fine with going to war. What I didn't realise it was doing was building up stress and building up mechanisms inside me which was shutting me off to being normal, and I think a lot of people experience this. So going to war consecutively year after year, that was okay while I was in it. The problem was when I came back to society and back to a life, and then when I left the military, then things sort of fell apart. That the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the sense of belonging didn't exist anymore. So for me, that's where I started to really fall apart. I could hold it together while I was in, but it was leaving it. So it took me a long time to deal with the effects of that. I started drinking a lot more. It became a regular occurrence. The way I see it now, it was a coping mechanism. It took away anxiety, it took away a feeling of abandonment and loneliness. So it gave me something. And then along with that came the drugs. So I identify as a bit of a polyaddict, so cocaine, MDMA, ketamine, I've touched everything. So the alcohol and the drugs are a band-aid solution, I guess. They allowed me to live life in a manner which allowed me to fit in and cope with the stresses of life. And then over the years, it just got worse and worse to the point where my life is unmanageable, and it's downright dangerous. Yeah. Through 15 visits to rehabilitation, countless visits to hospital. I've been in ICU multiple times. I've been sectioned by the hospital for basically being suicidal, mental health conditions. And I did that for many years, the same cycle, just going around and around, thinking I could manage life myself. But what was happening was I was just losing myself more. And my life had to change or there was no future. The amount of situations I put myself in where I should be dead, I'm running out of lives. One time I was in ICU for 4 days. I'd lost, I don't know how many quarts of blood. And I literally will walk out of the hospital straight to the liquor store on medication to deal with the anxiety. That was my life. That's how I dealt with things, and it'd gone much further than a psychological need. It was a physiological need as well. So each time I relapse, the cycle returns. This gets worse and worse and worse, and now it's to the point I can't pick up without becoming suicidal, and I go into psychosis. It's not an option for me anymore. Anyone I went to war with, so my teammates, any commandos that I went to war with, they all come back with something. Yeah, they come back with a little bit of war in them. Some have dealt with them, some have not. I was 20 when I joined the military. I was 22 when I first went to war, and I was in gunfights when I was 22. I grew up real fast, and I thought that was my life. Being removed from that, going back to society, is a lot of adjustments which needed to take place. And I think now the military are acknowledging this, and they're taking steps due to the suicide rate, the alcohol abuse disorder, the PTSD, the mental health disorders, which are really apparent in all militaries around the world now. So after 15 attempts at rehab, countless visits to the hospital, numerous times in ICU, being sectioned, I finally found my solution to breaking away from that life, and I found that in fitness. Fitness provided me a purpose, a sense of self. It allowed me to demonstrate discipline again, which I learnt in the military a lot of. It gave me something to turn up and have hope for and strive and to better myself as a person. And the thing with fitness is you can always be improving. It's not a one-dimensional skill you work on, it's multi-dimensional. So fitness has provided me with sobriety, and what that allows me to do is get up in the morning. I have a sense of purpose, I have a schedule, it gives me structure, it makes me feel good, it gives me something to turn up to and better myself on a daily basis. Fitness allowed me to start building up my self-esteem, my self-confidence and my self-worth, which I lost in addiction. So fitness is a tool that I use in sobriety. I have acquired different tools for different purposes, but the main tool that I base in my life is fitness. So I feel that with my experience from being in the military, being special forces, being in addiction, getting my life back on track, I think I have something to offer other people who are still struggling and looking for direction or motivation or whatever it is. I feel that I'm in a position now where I can help people, and I'm qualified to do that. I'm very grateful to be in the position I am now. So if you've been through or going through a similar situation to myself, or you have any health or fitness related goals, feel free to reach out. I'm very active on social media. I also offer one-on-one coaching to achieve any health or fitness related goals you have. I look forward to hearing from you.